Hello again. My name is Livi Michael. I'm the author of 20 books, one PhD thesis, several articles and short stories and a play. I also run a podcast about short fiction called Small Pleasures, together with short story writer and translator Sonia Moore. I've taught creative writing for over 30 years and had an even longer relationship with the publishing industry, going back perhaps 40 years. In that time, the world of publishing has undergone many changes, and my experience of it has varied a great deal. So my aim in this series is to share some of the things I've learned with you from working with thousands of writers, with my own creative process, and with the publishing industry. In this episode, I want to look at the idea of validation and ask where it comes from. Because I think writers are always looking for validation in one form or another, and they often look to the publishing world to supply it. So I'm going to begin by telling you a rather strange story about when I was first published. Having my first novel accepted was easily the most exciting thing that had ever happened to me. I'd wanted to write since I was 6 or 7 years old, and now, at 31, my novel had been accepted. I didn't sleep for months. Every time I started to fall asleep, I would think, it's really happening, and wake up again with my heart pounding. Going to London to meet my editor for the first time was overwhelming. But here's the weird core of the story. I can remember standing outside the impressive-looking building on Vauxhall Bridge Road and thinking, I can't go in. I don't look like a writer. How weird is that? I've no idea where it came from. Even then, in my relative ignorance, I knew all writers didn't look alike. But the feeling was so powerful, I've never forgotten it. I literally couldn't go in. You'll probably guess that I did eventually overcome my inhibition. I did go in and meet my editor. This, to me, was the culmination of my dreams, the launch of my writing career. I'd had some false starts, some rejections, but now I'd made it at last. Apart from the fact that I didn't look like a writer, and certainly I wasn't earning enough to give up the day job. When people asked me what I did for a living, I was curiously reluctant to say that I wrote. I could tell them I was a teacher, the day job. Was this because I still felt I didn't look like a writer, or because I didn't want to confront some of the misconceptions people have about writing? Writers are all rich and famous, etc. I'd had a few painful conversations of the kind that not every, not particularly famous writer is familiar with, in which people ask me such questions as, would I have heard of you? Do you write under your own name? How do you spell it? How much money do you earn? And so on. So despite the fact that I continued to publish, I became almost pathologically reluctant to say I was a writer. Did this mean I didn't believe in myself? There was certainly an element of self-doubt, a feeling that it, whatever it was, hadn't happened yet. Let's say that it is self-belief, the belief that I really was the writer I dreamed of being all those years. Well, at what point was it likely to happen, if not when I was finally published, nor when I continued to have books published? Perhaps it would happen when I became self-sufficient from writing, gave up the day job and worked as a full-time professional writer. Actually, I was a full-time professional writer for a few years, but even then the critical moment didn't arrive. Perhaps it would be when I had a bestseller or won the Booker Prize. Well, I can now answer that question with another story that's possibly even stranger than the first. Eventually, people stopped publishing me. I wasn't selling enough, wasn't a celebrity, hadn't won a major award. Over a period of 7 years, I sent out at least 3 novels and several stories and pitches for stories, books, articles, but they were all rejected. It was devastating, but strangely, it was around this time that I finally began to believe in myself as a writer. Why, I hear you ask? Because I still got up every day and did it. I still do because I can't imagine my life without it. These days, I have no trouble at all telling people I'm a writer. I even think that I look like one. I'm a writer because I write. That is my validation. The root of the word validation is the same as the root of the word value. Val, meaning strength. I feel strong when I write. It often seems to me that the source of the writer's vulnerability, a different root word there, vulnus, meaning wound, is that the value of writing or of any art is determined by other people, by readers, editors, teachers, reviewers, publishers. I've not become invulnerable. I still feel knocked by rejection, but I have been on a journey from not believing to believing in myself as a writer, and it has been uncannily independent of the publishing process. I write because I love to do it, because I get totally absorbed in it. I know I can't be the only judge of whether what I write is any good or not, but I'm not convinced that anyone else can. Certainly not an industry which is so dependent on sales or whether a writer has 1 million followers on X. So the question I'm asking is it inevitable that we have to depend on other people, the publishing industry, readers, reviewers, sales, or awards, for a sense of value? What does validation mean to you? This is Livi Michael saying goodbye for now and happy writing.